Football to me is just kind of a way of life. I grew up around it. My brother playing and him playing here, it's just a big part of my life, pretty much.
I think in high school sports today, more is turning more into the college and NFL style where let's go build some fancy all-star team and let's go play, right? Let's try to win. And I think the way we've become special here at St. Augustine is we're a community team. We play with kids that are from our community, and we go compete with whoever we play against.
Perhaps the most enriching part of their high school experience, that it's truly impactful for them, that our football players look back, and that football to them is something that they could not imagine not having been a part of their high school experience.
I mean, I didn't grow up here, in St. Augustine, but, coming to this program, I learned quickly that, you have a whole community behind you, and it's a really special thing.
It means everything to be a Yellow Jacket, to be honest. Everybody connected with everybody. Everybody have a good time.
No one really says you're supposed to win, but everybody just knows. You know deep inside you have to win. We're at St. Augustine.
Seven local teams that all had a shot to earn their ticket to Tallahassee next week. All they had to do was win tonight. Let's start things off with St. Augustine. The Yellow Jackets hosted their first state semifinal game since 2007. Yellow Jackets have a perfect record. They've been unstoppable this year. Tonight, all they had to do was beat.
So the 2023 season was exceptionally special. When the playoffs came, we had a very clear goal. We wanted to win a state championship. We believed it was attainable. We believed we could do it, and we weren't going to be content, truthfully, with anything less than that.
St. Augustine rolls over Dunbar 35-14. Jackets in their first championship game since 2007. They'll face Mainland.
We knew that there were some very talented teams. We knew specifically that, Mainland loomed out there, and we knew the type of talent that they had. And I think a lot of people thought that that was the collision course. We take a lot of pride in special teams, and we got a good kick. We got a nice returnable kick, which isn't always the case in high school. There's a lot of nervous energy on that field, so that they probably had a lot of kids just running down the field as fast as they could. And, we were able to block a few guys down, kick a couple out, and fortunately we had a great player in Trenton Jones catching the kick, and he hit a seam and was untouched and went the distance. In context, we're playing arguably the best defense in the state, and so we knew scoring would be tough. We knew points would be at a premium, so to score on special teams, honestly, there could not have been a better start to the football game than for us to do that. So late in the first quarter, they're kind of possessing the ball and we're hanging on. They're very, very big, very, very talented football team. We thought we did have a special teams advantage coming into the game. We didn't know it was going to play out like this. And sure enough, we blocked the field goal. Marquise King scoops it up, and then he returns it about 70 yards. At this point, we've had the ball, I believe at that point, we'd had the ball one time, and only gained maybe 10 or 15 yards, and we're up in the game 13-0. They had all the momentum coming out of the third quarter, and early into the fourth, when they took the lead 18-13. The fact though that they had not kicked an extra point, they kept going for two, and we've been able to stop them every time, put us in good position. So it was 18-13, and we just needed to get something done offensively to try to get the lead back. So early in the fourth quarter, we had a run play called, and on the RPO, Lachlan Hewlett pulled it and made an absolutely perfect throw to CJ Jenkins, who the defender from Mainland was a highly touted corner who ended up signing with Tulane. He had great coverage, and it was a perfect throw and a great job by CJ of being big and using his body, and then he finished, he broke the tackle, and was able to take it the distance. That made the game 19-18, put us back in the lead early in the fourth quarter. Less than 10 minutes left in the game, and an opportunity now to try to finish a state championship win. It starts to look pretty obvious that this is going to be it. They're either going to be able to take it down and they're going to score and win, or we're going to get a stop, and we're at the point now where it's one more stop and we're going to be state champs. So they get to about our 30-35 yard line. If they don't convert, we're going to be able to kneel it out. Game is over. A lot of kids at that point are thinking about, what am I going to do here after this pass is incomplete? Who am I going to hug first? Unfortunately for us, we're in tight coverage. Their quarterback makes a perfect low and inside throw on a slant route, and their kid makes a diving catch, a catch that many times you'll see bounce, not be finished at the high school level. 10 or 11 yard gain. and first down, and immediately you kind of feel the air come out of our side. Now they think they've got a shot. They're closer to field goal range. Then their quarterback with his feet on the next play makes a big play, gets it down inside the 10-yard line. And at that point, we're under 30 seconds left. And at this point, they're setting it up for a game-winning field goal.
I wanted him to shank it. Left, right. He wanted him to kick it low, hit somebody in the head. I don't know. I just didn't want him to make it.
And they come out, snap it, hold it, kick it, and execute. And their game's over, and they're state champions. I think you're just emotionally empty. It would have been a truly remarkable win for us to have beaten that football team. That's a team that if we play 10 times, I don't know how many times we could be in that position. Not to undersell us, but there was a lot of big-time talent on the opposite sideline, and it was an outstanding football team we were playing. To think that we were that close to finding a way.
I mean, I felt like the wind just left my body. It was heartbreaking for sure, and I had nothing to do about it really at that point. So it was just kind of really hurt.
It was a lot of disbelief that we just let it slip right through our fingers because we were truly right there.
And saying we don't have to get over what happened in that game to move forward, and do everything in our power to give ourselves another shot in 2024. So I didn't have any interest in trying to pretend like we would just wash our hands and move on, because I think that's ridiculous. You gotta compartmentalize it. You gotta put it somewhere deep down, away. But that day will never go away. You just got to get to it for 2024 and make that the main thing, because that's what you got. That's what's in front of you. And that's what we attempted to the best of our ability to do. Rolling into 2024, I think we felt confident. We had a lot of players who'd played a lot of football. We certainly had our moments of coaches and players alike checking each other to make sure that it wasn't just about getting back to the playoffs to try to make another run.
We there early, crack of dawn. We probably doing stuff most teams wouldn't think of, but we just out there working.
Yeah, because I got friends that I talk to, from other cities, and we talk about practicing football and stuff. And the way we run ours at St. Augustine High School is like running a college, already preparing us for the next level. And then I talked to some of my friends, and they're like, we don't even do half the stuff y'all do. Y'all are way above us. I'm like, yeah, that's just the standard that we have that is set and that our coaches run by to let us be prepared for each week that we have.
If you're not doing the things required in April, May, June, and July, then those other things aren't going to come. You're not entitled to them. Nobody on our schedule is just going to say, well, they bring back a lot of players from a really good team, so I guess they'll win. That's not going to happen. Week 1 was unique in that we opened the season with Palatka. You've got all the anxiety when you start, because you want to know, you think you know what you've got, but you don't really know what you've got until you've been on the field a couple of times. So, we started fast, fortunately, in the first quarter, first drive. Trendell Anderson, pops a run for about 40 yards, puts us on the board, and, here we go. 2024 season's rolling. We're up 7-0 at Palatka. Coach Max Mann had done an awesome job of organizing us defensively so that when they punted out of their offensive formation, getting our free safety deep, Daryl Jenkins to catch that punt, and then use the fact that they still had 5 linemen on the field against them. So by us not just letting the ball be punted by their quarterback and then roll, just be a dead ball and then flip the field, the time and the preparation that Coach Mann had invested in having us prepared for that.
Yeah, Palatka, big game, big rivalry, and it wasn't a away game, so we most definitely had to pull through for the people back in St. Augustine.
We were fortunate to, come out and start the season off with a big win over at Palatka. High expectations of how we play, and we want to be dominant. So it was a start. We had dominant spurts, and then obviously punched the lead way out to where we got it to a running clock. But like any season, early in the season, you've got a lot to work on, and usually the biggest jumps you make are those first few games of the season. So we were eager to do that.
Ready, set, go.
Week 2, we moved on, big rivalry game with Pedro Menendez, and it's always a fun game because of all just the community hype around it. We were on our heels a little bit at the start of the game. We ran a pressure, got some pressure on their quarterback. We had a corner that was actually beaten on the play, but he recovered really nicely, and we had a tip pass that Braylon James was able to run over and make a great interception on. One big play that stuck out from the first half was we ran a naked bootleg pass, and Lachlan was kind of running for his life a little bit, buying a lot of time, and when he's running around, sometimes he makes some spectacular things happen. Kind of what happened on the play, he hit somewhere in Wingo streaking across the field, and he made a couple people miss and went about 45 yards for a touchdown right before halftime that kind of bumped the lead out and really kind of gave us control of the game, and was a great play.
I still don't know what play it happened. I had a big scar, deep cut right above my lip, right under my nose. And it was gushing blood, and the trainer didn't want me to finish the game.
We looked at it, and the trainer was like, it might be time to go to the ER and get that fixed. And Braylon, being the leader he is, the tough kid he is, he quickly informed the trainer and his parents that this was his senior year, and we were playing Pedro. He would let them know when he was going to go to the ER.
But I insisted on, being able to finish that game. I had gotten the interception. I was like, I got to stay in the game. I got to make some plays. I just wanted to keep playing. It was my senior year. I don't have too many games,
Later that night, once the game was in hand, he was amicable to his parents, then taking him to the ER to get stitched up. We were fortunate to go down to Pedro and get a big win and start 2-0. Unfortunately, we were having a ton of rain to begin with, and then we had torrential rain that began at about 6 p.m. The night we were hosting bowls, and basically our field was unplayable. And after the officials and myself and Coach Toblin walked the field, we just didn't see any way that night we were going to be able to play a football game on our field. And
I was very disappointed. That was the only game I was ready, and on the schedule, it was the only one that was circled that I was ready to play, just because it had just became a rivalry game with us too, and we had beat them last year, my junior year.
Tonight, St. Augustine hosted Riverside. It's a matchup of two very good offenses. The stars of tonight's show were the ones that find the end zone the most, the wide receivers. Some of the best in our area faced off.
Week 4, our opponent was the Riverside Generals, and our word of the week was responsibility. So this game was a track meet. It was definitively probably our worst performance of the season on defense, but offensively it was one of our best performances. And one of the big things about this game was Trenton Jones was back full speed. He had missed the first couple weeks of the season with a knee sprain. And Trent came out and early on in this game took a little swing route from Lachlan and basically ran past everybody in Riverside secondary for about a 50-yard touchdown. He had another lengthy touchdown later in the game and a lot of explosive plays. And it was awesome to get not only an athlete like Trent Jones back, because he's a great football player, but he's also just a tremendous young man and a great teammate. So having him back out there on the field was a big deal in that game.
The Yellow Jackets stay undefeated, beating Riverside 47-35.
Let's go.
Our Week 5 opponent was the Nice Panthers, and the word of the week was learn. We were really excited to play this game. It was a beautiful night, perfect weather, beautiful Friday night. Nice, St. Augustine, humongous crowd, so it doesn't get better than that.
This is the first time since 2006 that these rivals met with unbeaten records. Now,
you could tell that our defense was here to play that night, the way that they're capable of. And you knew very early in that game, okay, we have a chance on defense. So I think the start of that game sent a message for our kids to themselves of we can be dominant on defense. Let's play the way we're capable of. It's been a highly contested, very hard-fought first half, yet we've played really clean football. And we find ourselves winning against a really good football team, 21-0 at halftime. may have been the best half of football we played all season. Our kids wanted to be dominant. They wanted to run and clock them. Unfortunately, on the first snap from scrimmage in the second half, we had an interception that got returned for a touchdown, and I think it kind of shocked our football team a little bit. And I think we were able to learn a lot about ourselves that night because we didn't handle it really well. It just seemed like all the momentum was on their side, and we needed to try to end the game. It just felt that way, and maybe it was the right call, maybe it was the wrong call, and it didn't work, so it was the wrong call. And we had a pass play on. Lachlan thought he had an alley to try to get to the end zone, took off and scrambled, and they did a great job of converging and tackled him in about the 1.5 yard line, and that's all she wrote. They're celebrating on our field, and we're now for the first time since September 2022, we've got a regular season loss. We may have played our best half of football and then may have played one of our worst halves of football back to back.
That was one of the worst losses personally I've ever experienced. It was a terrible feeling, especially a team that we've had such a rival with the last 20 years. It's our senior year. We beat them all 3 years leading up to it, and then we lose.
And we had so much to learn from it, and such an opportunity to bounce back in a very big district game the next week.
And then going out to Columbia, you need a game to get the whole team's confidence back.
The word of the week was a phrase this week, and it was "no jerks," and that's actually paraphrasing in a little bit more appropriate language what it is, and speaks to how you cannot there's enough enemies outside. You cannot have even the smallest of enemies within. And if there was ever a week for us to remember, we're all in this together for better or worse, even though how embarrassing that second half was the previous week, this was the week for that. Columbia is always big and rugged and always hard to run the ball on. We started fast, and that was really a tribute to our kids, because this was really going to be a telltale game for us. Are we going to come over and slop around in the rain and be in a dogfight and fighting for our district lives, or are we going to come play like we're capable of? And first half we did that.
A bunch of rain and mud everywhere, and we just didn't care. We wanted to, beat the crap out of them.
This play, a huge RPO pass play to Trent Jones for about a 60-yard touchdown, and to bump our lead up was a big play in this game. And they were struggling just to get a pass off, just to grip the football, and to see the way we were throwing and catching was really impressive. I was really proud of Lachlan and how he played this night specifically.
Knowing that the rest of the week of school is canceled, there's a hurricane coming, you're playing on a field that's soaking wet, mud everywhere.
Coach James constantly coaches these guys to be special with the ball, to do special things. It's a frame of mind. And this goes back to January and February in the weight room. This goes back to what you do, the running in the off season. You can do special things with the ball in your hands when you've trained in the weight room the way CJ has. You're hard to tackle. You can do special things with the ball in your hands when you've been on the track like Trenton and Trendell. You can accelerate and run away from people. So this was a really cool play, and it was just a testament, really. If there's a play that's a testament to the work CJ put in, this was a play that is that. First play of the game, couldn't have started any better. Trent Jones takes a kick and takes it to the house. From there it was kind of on, and for a dominant performance. Fortunately, we were able to come out and start fast and get a dominant win, put up a lot of points, and get to 2-0 in the district. Now we're 2-0 in the district, and later that week, we have a Monday, Friday, we've got Bartram Trail, and the word of the week was preparation. And Bartram's always a big game. We were excited to go up there and compete. Had a very good football team, and fortunately, we were able to go up to Bartram and come out with a big 48-21 win, and really kind of keep the momentum going. After the big win against Bartram, we got a lot of momentum. We're going into our 9th game of the year, which was senior night with Ridgeview. The word of the week was pressure, and I would say I felt pressure that week in our seniors to go out the right way. We knew we were playing an opponent for homecoming and on senior night that was probably going to be overmatched by us. That was a special night, senior night. I've been doing this for a long time, been a head coach now for 12 years, and I can definitively say this was the most emotional I've ever been on senior night. I didn't even make it through number one without tearing up. Just a lot of special kids. It was an awesome night. So we were able to get a really big win over Ridgeview and send our seniors out in style. So that was pretty cool.
This was the big game. This was one that a lot of people were excited about. These are two teams that have been number one in our Super 10 rankings at one point or another in this season. So Mandarin and St. Augustine, we were keeping our eyes on this one. It was really a matchup between that Mustangs defense and the St. Augustine offense.
There was a lot of build-up to this game when it was put on the schedule. There was a lot of enthusiasm locally about this game, a lot of great football players on the field. Two teams that genuinely started the season with state championship aspirations. Our kids were really excited for this game. Our word of the week that week was authenticity, which honestly was perfect. We just needed to be who we are. We needed to be true to ourselves in St. Augustine football and not try to do extra or more because we were playing a hyper-talented, really good opponent, but just go play the way we're capable of playing. And it was a really fun night. It was great to go out on that field and watch our guys compete against a bunch of great football players and a really good team in Mandarin, and our kids played at a high level, and we were able to get the win 38-26, which was just a great way to cap the regular season.
The Jackets come away with a win, 38-26. What a game, big win for St. Augustine.
Whenever we have our last practice before what could be the final game. So, every year you're hoping that that's the Thursday of week one of the playoffs. You're hoping that that's the first, you've made it to the playoffs and that is potentially what could be your last game. We participate in a tradition started here by Coach Wiles back in 1996 called Burning of the Shoes, where all the seniors, we physically burn shoes. Some of them bring their old cleats. And we make a little fire, and all the seniors have a chance to address their teammates and coaches and basically just say their piece. It takes on a lot of different tones. It could be, sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's real serious, sometimes it's emotional, sometimes it's short and sweet. But it's really cool. And we call it Burning of the Shoes to kind of honor them because no matter what they were, their footsteps here will never be retraced in the exact same manner. They'll never be replaced. It really is an opportunity to embrace the finality of the end that one way or another is near.
Both of these teams are playoff perennial type teams, but St. Augustine's just different.
They seems like they meet every time.
It's exciting. It's exciting when you get to the point of win or it's over, and certainly adds an entire new level of just urgency to everything you do. So it's always very exciting.
The most miserable people let life happen to them. If you want to be free, you really decide what story you want to live. What story are you telling? See, I don't have an understanding of an outlook on life where we just act like life happens to us. I don't understand that. Because the whole point of this, the whole point of the word of the week language, the whole point of the idea of the narrative that you tell or the narrative that you choose for your life is that you choose.
They actually motivate me and just sit and think about, the things he truly says. They have a lot of meaning, and it just motivates you to go out, play as hard as you can.
We were really fortunate that we were receiving the opening kickoff, and we were fortunate that our offense came out and was ready to play and executed at a high level. And we were able to cap a drive off with about a 25-yard touchdown pass from Lachlan Hewlett to Samorian Wingo. And it's always a really big deal to start fast, especially in a playoff game when emotions are high and it's just a different atmosphere. So that was a great way to start the playoff run. Since that Nice game in the middle of the season, we had really been playing defense in general at a pretty high level, and this is the first snap of the game on defense. You know, Matteo Bernardi has a tight scrape on an inside zone play and makes a physical tackle, and first play of the game, you know, no gain, and just kind of establishing right from the start that we were going to be ready to play on defense that night.
Came in with an attitude of we're going to be the people that the news is going to talk about. We want to be the people, you know, our offense is great, but we want to be the people that, you know, show up and play. So we just kind of played like that.
When you get to the playoffs, it's always harder to score. Teams usually get better and better and better on defense throughout the season, and the games just tighten up. So we knew coming into the playoffs, if we wanted to make a run, we needed to continue to improve on defense, and this was a great way to start and just kind of set the tone for a night where we were able to finish with a shutout. I mean, I think there's very few things in sports that are probably more exciting than those moments right before a game, on a Friday night when the football team takes the field. So it's something that, you know, those kids probably remember forever. I know I remember playing high school football and how it feels on a Friday night. So it's really special.
Practicing on Thanksgiving, that's the goal for every team when they start the year off. And that's the goal for both of these teams. One team would win tonight and get a chance to earn the right to practice on Thanksgiving. St. Augustine has been near the top of the Super 10 all year long, while Ed White has been another team that has just been consistent.
It's very distinct and very unique to be a part of this football program. It's an experience that guys now, generations before you, reminisce on, talk about, envy you now that you're in it and get to go play. The small, tiny rituals, the big rituals, they all add up to make us St. Augustine football.
All week he's telling us every time he gets it, he's going to make a play. Like you say, once you see Trenton Jones get a lane, you know he's going to house it.
Obviously, start off with a bang, take the opening kickoff back. So again, you know, you can't start any better. It puts doubt into the opponent's mind, gives you an extra jolt.
I ran down and we did our little handshake. I'm extremely excited and happy for him. I always tell my guys on offense, man, look, I'm going to be your biggest critic, and I'm also going to be your biggest fan when you play for me here. And when kids make a play, man, I'm more excited than anyone.
So once I seen that, and then just how our team had a lot of energy coming out and stuff like that, I knew it would be a great game.
It's always our desire to be the team that plays with more physicality and more effort. You know, it was a really physical tackle. He kind of took both of his feet off the ground and planted them. That gets everybody excited, obviously, and he's a very physical player that plays with great effort, and that was a really cool play to see. And anytime you see a smaller guy like that play with that level of physicality, it kind of inspires everybody else on the defense.
But that was a game where you look at it, and again, the athletes they have, and the team that they are, to beat them that handily in fashion, it was, extremely exciting. So. Can't get too happy, right? Because you got more weeks and more games to prepare for. So that's kind of the way I prepare and look at it, keep it in perspective of like, couple minutes, couple hours to be excited. It's like, okay, what's next?
So we're now on to the regional final, and for the third year in a row in the playoffs, we're playing Choctawhatchee High School from out in Fort Walton Beach. And the word of the week was ritual. I think I'd be lying if I didn't say we expected to be here. Not at all to minimize the first 2 playoff wins. Extremely grateful for those. Really happy. The shutout in round 1, and then week 2 to be up 35-0. After 3 quarters, you feel like we're playing at a high level, so that's exciting. And but we knew we were now at the point where we're playing state championship caliber teams.
St. Augustine has rolled through their last 2 playoff games. They've honestly just made it look easy. Tonight, the Yellow Jackets hit the field with Choctaw. Now, this is the 3rd straight year that these 2 teams have met in the postseason. Choctaw won in 2022. St. Augustine won last year. Tonight, a little bit of a tiebreaker game with these 2 teams.
Was waiting to see a team that could stop us, to be honest. I feel like, we felt unstoppable at that point.
And, 2 years ago, Choctaw had ended our season. 2023, we were able to end theirs at the same point in the regional final. And they were playing at a very high level, and they had just won their 2nd round game handily over Escambia, so we knew we were in for a fight.
I knew if our defense came out, played hard, played tough, did the smart things, did the little things right, that we could definitely stop them from scoring.
If you really want to be great, then it's about we, and it's about us. We and us will always triumph over I and me. It's about we and us being so much greater than I and me. It's really learning about selflessness. It's about learning to be uncomfortable, yet still being man enough to say, I gotta do this for the people that depend on me. Here's what I know. I want another Monday for us to get a chance to keep doing it. Effort, physicality, discipline, connection. Play the simple game with all your heart tonight, as hard as you can. And let's go win a regional championship. Jackets! 1, 2, 3, Jackets!
Just knowing that they're going to come in and be physical, that's what I kept telling our kids. They're going to be physical. They're going to be physical. They're going to try to knock you around. They're going to try to make you quit.
I've always been just ready to play, ready to, because stars and offers never, scared me. It was like, you can either play ball or you can't. And I know I can play ball, so you have to put your best offensive lineman in front of me and see who made the best man win.
So we kick off to them. Still in the first drive, quarterback doesn't see Keon Wilcox pushing out to the flat to the boundary side. Throws an interception. Playing against an elite defense, we certainly don't want to fall behind early in the game. So big play by Keon, and immediately sets us up with the ball in good field position. So we get the stop on the interception, and then we go right down the field and we score. Christian Coleman punches it in from about 5 yards out. We immediately take the lead 7-0. We go out, we stop them, we get the ball right back. And then we go on another great drive. Trendell Anderson finishes off with a touchdown run. We are 2 drives into the game, less than 30 plays into the game. We're up 13-0 against an exceptional football team that had been playing at a really high level, so had been allowing very few points. So we couldn't have been more excited about the start of the game. Little did we know that was going to be the last points we scored, but certainly in the first half of that first quarter, we jumped out and hot. We're well into the second half now. They've started to get a little traction maybe, but we're still playing at a high level on defense, and their exceptional defense has gotten comfortable and made it hard on us. And looking at a 13-3 game at this point, we've settled in now to a little bit of a tennis match of both defenses playing at a high level and a low-scoring game, which honestly in this day and age is pretty rare. So it's a different kind of game to be in. Late in the third quarter, they end up kicking another field goal, and it's now 13-6 going into the fourth. You know, it's just, again, it's back and forth, and we're not necessarily playing our best.
They're driving, and I'm immediately thinking like, man, we would have done this, we would have did that, we would have done this. But, you know, you got to quickly change that into like, we got to win the game.
I'm guarding a player and I see him go to throw. I look and our Jimmy Wheeler's right there, so I'm like, whoa. I just knew right then we won.
A huge sigh of relief, a different kind of win for us. Couldn't have been more proud of our whole football team.
Smiling, hands up, let's go. Yeah, the usual.
You know, we'd even talked before the game in our defensive pregame meeting about how, you know, this might be the game. This might be the night where the defense needed to be the group that comes through down the stretch. Now we move on to the state semifinal, and the word of the week that week was Legacy Part 1, hoping that we could talk about Part 2 if we make it to a state championship game. State semifinal, at this point, the only way the pressure and the urgency and anxiety can ramp up even more is if you can win and make it to the next week. So it's really fun. You know, we're playing Plantation American Heritage, nationally ranked. They've played a national schedule. They've been beaten, but they've also beaten multiple nationally ranked teams, and you know, 4- and 5-star recruits and all those things. That didn't really necessarily matter a whole lot to us. We were excited to go play. You know, the big thing for us that night, and I reminded the team of several times, was we're not playing the school. We're not playing the state championships they've won. We're not playing the recruiting rankings that they've accrued on that roster. We're not playing, you know, all the banners in the end zone with the names of all the players in the NFL. Like, that's not who we're playing that night. We're playing one team of teenagers just like you guys. You know, I think it's important in those type of environments to remember that.
You just get nervous, right? Are we going to get blown off the field the next week? Should we even go? Like, should we show up? Those are all the things that are going on in my head. But, you know, I get sarcastic and I'm funny with the kids like that. And, you know, like, guys, we're going to tell them we don't even going to show up. We're going to send the defense down there and we're not going to play. You know, so those things are going through your mind. But again, you know, that's the challenge, and that's the part of loving to coach is how are you going to put your kids in a position where we don't get blown out, or we do take that field, we do compete with them on a play-to-play basis. So that quickly became the challenge, and we just went to work for us trying to prepare.
We fell behind early on, 7-0, unfortunately. They had a very gifted quarterback. He took off and scrambled for about a 30-yard gain. And the next play, they gave us a unique formation. One guy communicated one coverage check. Some guys played a different coverage check, which was unfortunate. We had been playing at such a high level of execution for a long time. So it was a bummer that happened. You know, fortunately, we then had a decent little drive, punted the ball, pinned them deep, and then Keon Wilcox, speed rush off the edge, comes in, powerful kid, sacks the quarterback with one arm, we create a safety, which is huge. So we get on the scoreboard, and now we're going to get the footballs. At this point, you kind of take a deep breath, you exhale, and now we're on the board, even though it's a weird score. It's 7-2. Unfortunately, after we get the safety, we end up punting the ball back to them. And on a third down, they give us another unorthodox formation. They give us a quads formation. Unfortunately, we have different guys playing different things. Quarterback buys time. There's a guy wide open, coverage bust, goes a long touchdown pass. Really, really frustrating start to the game. It's 14-2 now, and our kids on defense were very frustrated. I was very frustrated, not because they had scored, but in the manner in which they had scored their 2 touchdowns. We had done such a great job of not allowing big plays, of everybody being on the same page, us executing at a high level. To give up those 14 points in the manner we did was a tough pill to swallow, and there was a lot of frustration on the sideline at that point.
Just mental errors, honestly. There was nothing wrong with the scheme, nothing wrong just anywhere else. It was just mental errors. We just played different calls. So one half the side was playing one, another side was playing another, and that's where we gave up another deep ball there. Just a lot of mental stuff, guys getting down kind of quick. I think that's what led to the early start for them.
We need to make something good happen, and we put a good drive together. We've got second down somewhere around the 25-yard line. We run a sweep play, and Trendell Anderson behind some good blocking, and our guards get out on the perimeter. Isaiah Williams and then Josh Singleton, they throw some blocks. Trendell makes a great run, and we're in the end zone. And it's now early in the second quarter, and it's 14-9. Now you really feel like there's really an exhale at this point. 14-9, it's a 5-point game. We're right in the middle of the game. We're in the second quarter. At this point, you're kind of like, all right, let's do this. So we're feeling good at 14-9, and then unfortunately, they're very good. In the second quarter, they put together. After we scored to make it 14-9, they put together a drive or two, and they scored and make it 21-9. And then, unfortunately, we just have a couple of mishaps where it looks like we're going to have some opportunities to score. We have a turnover, we have a potential big play where we don't finish a catch, and then to end the half, they score again and make it 28-9. So we're in uncharted territory. Again, had some opportunities to score. We're having some difficulties on defense, hyper-talented offense. Half ends, it's 28-9, and we've got some serious questions to answer.
Well, man, the game could be different if we could just get going, right? Just wake up and play. Like, realize that they're not like the NFL team. All we got to do is just show up and play. I can remember pulling up a chair in the middle of the guys and going, look, guys, we're either going to play or we're going to get blown out. But either way is going to hurt the same. Like, you know what I mean? It won't be any different if we don't just, like, you're going to feel better about it if you just actually fight back. And they did that coming out in the second half.
So we come out in the second half. I think we ran the ball in the first play, and on second down, so it's 28-9. Second down, we have an RPO called, and Lachlan pulls the ball. Ball's a little bit below Samorian. Wingo's waist. Samorian reaches down, plucks it off the ground. Next thing you know, Samorian's in the end zone, and it's an 85-yard touchdown pass. 28-9 goes to 28-16, and immediately, there's some momentum.
We needed that at that moment. We're meant to be here. I already knew it, but, to everyone else around us, we're meant to be here.
It was huge that happened so quickly. We're now just 1 minute into the third quarter. It may as well have been halftime again.
Let's keep going. Let's get some more. Let's keep putting points on the board, and let's get back in this game.
So we kick off to them, and they convert a couple third downs, and they're moving the ball again. They've got the ball on our half of the 50. Quarterback goes to dump the ball off, never sees Darryl. Darryl steps in front of him, in front of the guy running the little shallow crossing route and intercepts the ball. Now there's some real enthusiasm in the stands, on our sideline. It's 28-16. We're in the third quarter. We just turned them over. We've got the ball in scoring position. So we can make this really interesting with a good drive here if we push this in.
Hey, I told you coming back, man. Let's go.
So we take the ball after the turnover, get a first down or two, and then we run a naked bootleg, and Lachlan does a great job. First two primary reads are not there. CJ Jenkins is coming from the backside across the field. Lachlan finds him in a dead spot in the middle of the end zone, hits him. CJ makes the catch, and boom. Touchdown. And I think they're stunned. Our side's going crazy. That makes it 28-22. Unfortunately, we don't execute the extra point, which turns out to loom large later in the game. So it's a 6-point game now, though, and we've got every opportunity. We're rejuvenated. For the first time all game, they're in heavy personnel. They're looking for answers to try to possess the ball. They don't want to give us the ball back. We're rolling at this point. First and 10, they make a conservative play call. We come after them, hit the kid for a loss of 2, and we're really, really excited about where we're at this point in the game. We get the ball back a time or two, but to their credit, they step up on defense and they keep us from going down and taking the lead. So it's a 6-point game with a little bit of back and forth. Early in the fourth quarter, they pop a running play, and their very talented back gets the ball down inside our 10-yard line. And we force a field goal attempt. And unfortunately, this is where the extra point comes back to haunt us, because they execute the field goal. They make it 31-22. So it's now a 2-possession game because it's a 9-point game. Whereas if it's 31-23, it's an 8-point game. So that certainly has an effect on how we now have to think as time starts to run down when we have the ball, because we're going to have to score twice, one way, shape, or form. We got to go score. And, we get a drive off to a hot start on 1st and 10. Lachlan drops back, throws a dart to Trenton Jones in a soft spot in their coverage. We get a 30-yard gain. And again, we're off and running with an opportunity to go score and try to get this 9-point lead cut down to give ourselves a chance. So the game goes kind of crazy over the last 5 minutes or so. As we're driving down, you don't want to go so fast that you don't execute, or that you don't get best plays in, or that you don't maximize an opportunity to score a touchdown. You're down 9. You need a touchdown and a field goal. And it was a crazy sequence of events. Unfortunately, it's 31-22. We throw an interception. Kid makes a great play. We're trying to throw a fade ball to Samorian Wingo, and he intercepts the ball. They come right out. They want to run the clock down, and we force a fumble, and we recover it. But then, unfortunately, we have that same naked bootleg play called. They do a better job of defending it. They force a quick throw from our quarterback. They step in front of it, and then they take it back. So 31-22, with us having the ball twice inside their 20, turns into 38-22 on the interception return. And for all intents and purposes, at that point, the game's probably over. We get the ball back and we go down and we score. And the last touchdown of the season is a 20-yard screen play to Trenton Jones. He punches the ball in and makes it 38-28. We go for 2, don't get it. And then basically there's 5 seconds left in the game at that point, and it's over. And not how we wanted it to go. Wishing we could have some plays back for sure. Feeling like that was a game we could have won as it's come to an end.
The first thing for me is always the seniors, just like I said the year before. It's always going to be about, man, like this group, we weren't able to win how we wanted to win, right? you kind of feel like, man, we missed out on something. We missed out on an opportunity. We let the kids down. And, you know, to be like, that's my mindset. Because again, it's about the kids, like worrying and that, like, man, their time's over. They're not here anymore, right?
Your hope for us as the adults is that the kids take with them things that will serve them well, you know, for the near future and on into the distant future. You know, one of the hardest things about coaching high school football is getting the kids to transition the commitment, the will to endure anything that a lot of our kids will put into football, and getting them to transition that past football. For this group specifically, you know, when you look at the past few years in total, you know, they accomplished a lot, but I think they were very good stewards of the opportunities that are presented to them in the football program, and very good stewards of the responsibilities and standards demanded of them in the program. And I'm grateful for those kids for that.
Legacy I hope that I left is that younger guys that's here, and for the future young guys that watch, like, they can see what the basics is in the standard of St. Augustine High School, and that did the best I could every day, practice, games, busted my butt, you know, in and out of season to have the best high school career that I could.
You know, from the outside looking in, I hope people would look at me as a person that cares a lot about football, will always give it their all, and was a good football player.
Just, you know, going out, working hard every day, but also, you know, enjoying the game, you know, enjoying being out there with your teammates, being with pretty much the people you love, playing the sport you love every day. It's pretty special, you know, and I want to leave a legacy of, you know, being happy for that every day. And
I was able to put a smile on people's faces the way I practice, play, carry myself. Just want to be a perfect example, or somewhat perfect, to the D-line.
Just a guy that was a positive guy all around on the practice field, you know, just giving advice to those younger players, you know, great teammate, things of that nature.
I just want them to remember me and my players and everybody, teammates, as someone that gave his all. No matter if I was injured, played through it, gave my all. No matter if I was watching them while hurt, like, just give them my all no matter what.
Sure, while they're there, there's a measure of how effective they were. But I also think after they're gone, there's still a measure of how effective they were. How inclined are those behind them? How inclined were they to be influenced by them and to have this shape them as they go forward? So, and that's what creates a sustainable culture. So again, I think they were good stewards of that. I'm certainly grateful for them, and excited to see what the future holds. Just like they were the beneficiaries of guys before them, doing a lot of great things. You know, I'm excited to see what the guys behind them were able to accomplish as well.